Welcome to another episode of the Ivan Herrera Show. We have so much going on in the NFL, and it is crazy. It was just another regular Sunday, and we got hit with alert after alert after alert. So in this video, I'm going to go over some of the major ones, like we see Davante Adams going to a new team. DK Metcalf got traded. Myles Garrett finally got the extension that he was looking for. Josh Allen secured the bag in a major way. And we're going to go over every single detail and what that means in terms of fantasy football impacts. And we have to start off with the first one, the one that I was most intrigued with. The one that stood out to me, and that was Davante Adams now belongs to the Los Angeles Rams after he and the Rams agreed to a 2-year deal that is worth up to $46 million with $26 million guaranteed. In 2024, he caught 85 receptions on 141 targets, had over 1,000 yards with 1,063 and 8 touchdowns. This comes after having a season where he began the year with the Las Vegas Raiders, got traded to join the New York Jets to partner up with his old quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. And despite having that slow start, he finished as wide receiver 11 on the season. And from weeks 9 to week 18, he just found his groove. He ended as the wide receiver 4 in all of fantasy, averaging a little over 20 points per game in PPR formats. Now he's going to be joining the Los Angeles Rams, which will now feature Puka Nacua on the other side of the field. You have Kyron Williams, and then, of course, you have Matthew Stafford, who re-upped and is going back to the Rams. This is a team, the Rams, that were just one win away from making it to the NFC Championship game for a shot at the Super Bowl. One could argue we're probably the best team that the Philadelphia Eagles faced as far as making it such a close game. They put up such a good fight in the snow in Philly. And now they're going to be adding Davante Adams, another weapon for Matthew Stafford to use, an offense that we feel is going to be extremely talented with an up-and-coming defense that is young and also very effective. Of course, the only thing that will remain is what will come of the Cooper Kupp trade. We know that it's been reported that Cooper Kupp will not be coming back to the Rams. So Davante Adams now kind of fitting in as the replacement for Cooper Kupp only will now upgrade and elevate this team to a whole different level. So big, exciting news there for Davante Adams, who will come to Los Angeles and make an impact right away with the Los Angeles Rams. And speaking of another receiver that got traded, and that's going to be DK Metcalf. There was all this talk about DK being upset. He's obviously in the last year of his contract. They released Tyler Lockett. They send Geno over to the Raiders. So the writing's on the wall. There's something brewing in Seattle. And DK is going to be sent over to Pittsburgh. And before I go over the details, I think it's really important to note how earlier in the week, actually, after DK had announced that he was going to be going on the trading market, there was a report that came out that Seattle was actually lowering their original asking price for DK. And if you didn't know what that was, they were actually looking for a first rounder as well as a third rounder this year in exchange for DK Metcalf. But they reportedly lowered it after, trying out that price tag for a while. Didn't really get much traction. But you see here that Pittsburgh sends over a 2025 second round pick this year in exchange for DK Metcalf, who will now join a Pittsburgh offense that features George Pickens. You have Najee Harris running the ball. You obviously have Pat Freiermuth there. And what I would assume would be Justin Fields under center. I mean, it would make quite a story if Russell Wilson somehow got reunited with DK, but I feel Justin Fields would be the quarterback that we would all bet on as far as being the one that will be taking the play calling and leading this offense. But DK now will be heading over to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it was actually reported too by Sports Illustrated that the team lowered their asking price. The Seattle Seahawks did. And as soon as Metcalf joined the Pittsburgh Steelers, he got a brand new contract. And his contract is a 5-year deal that is worth up to $150 million. So he got that contract that he was very much looking for. And Seattle now, they made the trade for Geno going to Las Vegas. They got a 3rd-round pick there. They now make this trade from Seattle over to Pittsburgh, sending DK in exchange for a second-round pick. So it kind of seems like there's a quick retool. We know that this offense is going to now rely heavily on Jackson Smith and Jigba. You still got Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet. Now the question becomes, okay, what kind of run do they make as far as how they fill in that void at quarterback? And they got some draft capital. And actually, you know what? This is pretty interesting. The Geno Smith trade actually cleared up $31.5 million in their cap. So they have some cap room now. They have more flexibility. They got the extra draft capital. So it'll be very intriguing to see what is to come with all of the moves that Seattle's making and what that'll look like with the draft just a 40-ish days away from now. And the next one I want to go over is going to be Josh Allen. You know, the guy that won the MVP this past year. He's getting the bag. And what's pretty cool about this move for Buffalo, it just seems like they're forging ahead. And, you know, I'll explain why. Josh Allen had still 4 years left on his existing deal. And it kind of seems like they're trying to get out in front and give him as much of, I guess you can say, respect by paying him this amount. This contract that he just signed, this extension, is a 6-year deal worth up to $330 million with $250 million guaranteed. This is now essentially setting the new benchmark for the quarterback market. And Josh Allen has been, I mean, I think this isn't much of a take, but he's been a rock star since 2020 in terms of fantasy. He's ended as a top 3 fantasy quarterback option each season since that mark. I mean, last year, even with Diggs being out, what seemed to be a very depleted wide receiver room, he seemed to have elevated the team around him. They're just one win away from making it to the Super Bowl. He threw for 3,731 yards, rushed for 531, had 28 passing touchdowns to go along with 12 rushing touchdowns. So, I mean, a phenomenal season for Josh Allen. Gets the bag with a contract extension, resetting the market there for the quarterback position, and a good deal, I believe, for Buffalo, who is now going to, they made another signing as well. So they're looking to really bolster up this team. I did think that it'd be interesting to see if DK would be maybe an option that Buffalo would consider, but it looks like with them signing Khalil Shakir, earlier in the offseason to a pretty team-friendly deal, it looks like they're pretty set for now, and they will look to retool that defense in the upcoming draft. Now, the next one I want to go over is going to be the huge contract we saw. This one's nuts. Myles Garrett getting a huge contract. He's now officially, for now at least, for this season or for the next few years, off the trading market because you got a monster deal from the Browns. Myles Garrett gets a 4-year extension worth up to $40 million a year, and $123.5 million of that being entirely guaranteed. This deal now makes Myles Garrett the highest non-quarterback player ever in league history. And the deal also includes a no-trade clause. Go figure. The irony of that. This comes after Max Crosby previously broke that record of the highest non-paid quarterback player, I should say. And this past year, Myles Garrett was very much impressive, had 14 sacks, and that actually made him the first player in NFL history to record 100 sacks before turning 29 years old. The former first overall pick has been nothing short of phenomenal, with 102 career sacks, trailing only the great TJ Watt, who has 108. So big news there for Cleveland. I mean, they still came off a very terrible season, so it'll be interesting to see what they do there with the Deshaun Watson setback and what they're looking to really target with free agency as well as the draft. But in other news, we also saw another big one. We saw Aaron Jones also signing a 2-year deal with the Vikings, another 2-year contract for $20 million, with $13 million of that being guaranteed. And Aaron Jones came off a pretty steady season. I mean, one that we weren't too crazy about, but still was very productive, all things considered. I have this stat I'm going to actually pull up that I thought was really interesting around Aaron Jones. And it says here, per Dov Kleiman on X, says running backs with over 1.1 thousand rushing yards and 400 receiving yards last season. We got 3 names. Jameer Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, and Aaron Jones. The Vikings are getting Jones for what seems to be a pretty team-friendly contract at $13 million a year for a running back that was productive, one that was really efficient in this offense, and one that is going to now see what they're going to do at the quarterback position, because obviously there's questions about Sam Darnold. Is he going to be coming back maybe on the franchise tag? Is he going to get signed again? Who knows, right? Or is he going to get traded? Will they get some capital in return for him, being that they have JJ McCarthy, who's going to be coming back from injury? But they know they at least have their running back there to help guide whoever will be there under center, someone who's been stable, not only as a running back, but also as a receiving option, as we can see here in this stat. But yeah, Aaron Jones now locked and secured there with the Vikings. And you know me, I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan, so I got to go over this news. We have Dallas Goedert reportedly has been set on the trade market, on the trading block, rather, I should say. And the asking price that Philadelphia is looking for is a 4th-round pick in a trade for Dallas Goedert. And you know that this is Howie season. Howie Roseman, GM, probably easily the best in the league, is always active, always looking for the right deal, and he just looks like he's wheeling and dealing. This is his time to shine. So really intriguing to see what they do. I mean, as a Philadelphia Eagles fan, I've learned to just trust the guy. I mean, Howie Roseman does a phenomenal job for the Eagles, and Dallas Goedert, just seems to be, very productive and still at a relatively good age where he can make an impact on any team that he goes to. So stay put to see what happens with Dallas Goedert. And it's been just so fun. The offseason hasn't officially started, but it's off to a great start. You have all these signings, all these trades. I think the Davante Adams one is probably the most juicy one for me, in my opinion. I mean, he's going to make an impact with Stafford. You got Puka, you got Kyron Williams. This team was putting up a strong fight. Plus, they have the up-and-coming defense. So it's going to be really intriguing to see how the NFC is going to shape out. But now that we know what's coming up, I do want to preface the videos I will be now releasing are going to be now geared towards fantasy football in terms of dynasty. So I'm going to be making a video that will be dropping sometime on Thursday or Wednesday. I'll post it so that way you guys can anticipate it. But it's going to be going over the upcoming rookies, some that you should be targeting, some that you should already be in the know about that I'll go over just to make sure that we cover it. But just making sure that you get all the ins and outs about who's coming up and how you should game plan for the upcoming season. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of all the news. Be sure to subscribe and like so that way you're up to date on every single thing that will be going down. I'll be sure to go over every single thing and give you my reaction as well as my fantasy football analysis around every single move. But as always, I encourage you, subscribe and like, and we will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for stopping by. Have a great night, and we'll see you guys in the next one.